Hi. I am so looking forward to you listening to this incredible conversation with my dear friend Kelsey. And for listeners to be aware, it does include conversation and topics and themes on drug use and abuse, suicide, and some medical interventions and treatments that can be controversial. So, if you or a loved one is experiencing suicidal thoughts or in any kind of crisis, please be aware that we want you here and we want you to feel fulfilled and we want you to find the help that you need and that you deserve. So, if this applies to you, please call or text 988 for help. And the Nexus of Narratives is not a medical podcast. I'm not a medical professional. And so if you are interested in learning more about any kind of medical interventions to help with treatment of different needs, please speak with your medical provider. Thank you. And I'm so excited for you to dig into this one with me. It's a good one.
Hi, I'm Gabriella Richardson, and I am a lover of learning. I am a cultivator of community, and I am a seeker of belonging. I am a messy and imperfect human, just trying to do my best to make this world a little bit of a better place. So I look forward to you joining me in that pursuit on the Nexus of Narratives.
Well, I'm so grateful to share space with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
If there's anyone I would want to have at the end of a long day to share space with and enjoy the company of, you're certainly towards the top of that list.
We need some tequila or something.
That's what we were missing, actually, was maybe get some like confetti hanging from the back or something.
Yeah, that's a big budget. A good budget.
Maybe that's season 2. We'll have like someone hiding behind the couch blowing confetti.
It will be your husband.
Yes, it will be. I can see it now, the head poking up here.
He's a good husband.
Yeah.
I know he would do it for free.
He would. Maybe incentivize him by, I'll make you dinner tonight, just like any other time. I'll change nothing.
Yeah.
And would you be willing to do this?
That's marriage.
Yeah. And there we go.
There's the podcast.
Well, I'm so grateful to share space with you. Thank you, my dear friend.
Thank you.
I know you as this, at first, just like, wow, she is such an incredibly talented dancer. She's gorgeous. She's like so amazing, like this amazing presence, and just encapsulating this embodiment on stage of like just beautiful skill, as well as just like, wow, then learning, wow, you're an amazing person. You are so kind and you're so generous, and the way that you hold space in class. Like I think I told you when we were on the phone yesterday, to be in dance and have a mix of different experiences, from feeling loved and accepted and celebrated to feeling judged and like I'm not good enough no matter how hard I try.
Yeah.
That was part of the reasons why I decided to stop teaching, was because I was just like, oh, if I'm a teacher, I've got to be perfect, right? And it just like totally demolished my relationship. But then to come into a dance space with you and with Lindsay, and to just be like, oh, how beautiful is this space that they're creating? And just like, you have been such a key part of replenishing my relationship with being a dancer.
Oh.
And I'm so grateful for that. So thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you. That means a lot to me, that's been your experience with it. I think I get so caught up in my own imposter syndrome yeah, so that's really nice to hear that, and thank you. And I feel so grateful to get to dance with you, and like the gift of what your energy and coming into space and collaborating with you has done for me. And so it's an honor to then go into this avenue.
Yeah.
All the cool ups and downs that this will be, and to support you on this journey too. So
I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah, me too.
Well, and anytime you're feeling imposter syndrome, you just call me up. I will lift you up anytime.
Yeah, but thank you. And likewise. Yes.
So, I know you in this very specific space of being able to embrace like femininity and skill and sensuality, but in a very fantastic and tactful way, I think is so cool. And to celebrate sexuality in dance in a way that's like doesn't feel demeaning and it feels uplifting and empowering is so cool. So I know you as a dancer. Really. I very well know that one side of you.
Yeah.
And so if someone was to just like bump into you on the road and you just had to really quickly be like, hey, I'm Kelsey, this is who I am.
My elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, so I am 37, just turned 37, and that feels uncomfortable. It's close. Yeah. Anyway, but
hi, I'm Kelsey. I turned 37 and I'm uncomfortable.
That's all you need to know. So I am from Boulder. I grew up in Boulder, the Boulder bubble. That's a unique sort of thing. Very working class in Boulder, which is not common. Although I then also get to have all the privileges of being in a very wealthy town set in this beautiful backdrop. But yeah, very working class family, kind of upbringing, work ethic, and got to dance from a young age, which I think is wonderful. I'm so grateful for that, to have a healthy outlet. And that having that constant through life from childhood to adulthood, and for that to continue, that's really lucky. And I know that that's not something that a lot of people have. It's a healthy outlet to express yourself and to be seen. So I studied dance and sociology at CU, and naturally the job market for both of those is very limited and also doesn't pay well. So I appreciate it, and I also have regrets. So I went into social work. I was a social worker for 12 years for Boulder County. And so I set up home and community-based services for disabled adults. That was a challenge as well. I think you are existing in a place with people where they're at their lowest. And so to find levity and light and goodness is challenging when you're empathetic and when you have a compassion for the people that you're working with. But it definitely made me very desensitized to the human experience, death and dying, struggle, terminal illness, all of that. And so after 12 years, I knew I needed to move on because I was compartmentalizing in such a way that I was disengaging from the important relationships in my life. And I didn't have the stores, the energy stores, the compassion stores for the people that I truly loved. So I was like, okay, I got to get out of this, and made some shifts. And now I'm in basically glorified customer service, which pays better than social work. So I'm grateful for that. I do warranty coordination for a large home builder. And so that's offered stability, health benefits that you don't get as a dancer. So I teach dance. I've been teaching dance since I was 15. That's how you and I have come to get to share more space with each other, but also direct a company called New Breed Dance Company with Lindsay Klinkenberg, which has given me the opportunity to perform with you. And you are so fun, such a ham, such a performer, and so is your husband. And I can't wait for the next project of weird shit to put you in something, some costumes, some weirdness. And thank you for always being down to
always down
just
for the
go
weirdness.
on that ride. Yeah.
It's such a fun ride.
Isn't it?
I have no shame sharing on here. I think the most fun, weirdest ride thus far was having DJ dressed up as a candy bar.
Yes.
And him and Mark dressed up as candy bars for our Halloween
Giving
show.
you a lap dance.
With me and Glenda, who is almost to the day 45 years older than me, almost to the day.
Yeah, how old is she? 80?
She's 74.
74.
No.
Really?
84? Oh, goodness gracious.
Sorry,
Might need
Glenda.
sorry, my brain.
Sorry.
But I know it was for the long, I was like, oh, it's almost 50 years. And then she corrected me. It's almost 45 years to the day.
Oh, okay.
So
I can't do math fast enough to understand what that would be, but
my brain
it's
is
a
struggling.
generational difference.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's such a beautiful gap that she and I are there sharing space.
Yes.
Getting lap dances from men dressed as giant candy bars in this hysterical, silly dance show.
I hope you can cut to some level of a clip of that maybe. Just like share it right here. This is what we're, nice visual representation.
I have some photos.
I think I have the actual video if you need afterwards. But yes, there are photos.
of that I would need to get Mark and Glenda's approval of to show.
That's true. And I'm sure both of them would say,
yeah. So what a fun adventure too. What I find really great about it though is, in part of my life, I have been raised, and I shared this actually with my father-in-law earlier, is I've felt over my life I've had to show up to get approval from others. So it's like, hi, I'm Gabby. I am so smart because I have done these things. I am so accomplished because I have done these things. So look at me this way and accept me because I'm great, even though there's this imposter syndrome in my head. And, but if I'm this person, I cannot also be anything else. So to be able to now be in a space where it's like, yes, I am a professional. I care about my community. I care about doing good things in the world. I am a mother.
Yes.
I am a weightlifter, and I love dancing in these spaces, in these cabaret shows. Is just such a blast to then find this way to really celebrate my body and myself as a woman in this space that is uplifting, because growing up, it was not something that was celebrated and uplifted. It was a tool for someone else's pleasure.
Yes. And
so to be able to be multidimensional and have you as part of that has been so amazing. So
good.
I absolutely love that.
Good. More to come, hopefully.
Yeah, more to come.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So let's dig into you.
Okay.
Yeah. We have talked about some different areas of the world. And I know your life has been so full and has had so much. And what feels important for you here?
Well, and the prompts that you provided are so valuable. And thank you for your thoughtfulness in the preparation of a conversation like this, because I know that there's probably a lot of pressure and responsibility to take good care and for people to feel that they can safely and trustingly kind of open up. Yeah. So you've done a great job of that. And thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I was trying to think back in the totality of my life, what would be worthy of sharing? What is a universal theme or advice or something that I can provide? Because dance is niche, but it doesn't have to be. It's representative of what somebody could utilize, a passion they could follow that is helping to crack them open and connect better with others. A theme I think that I can reflect back on and see happening and recurring, not dance related, is I feel like I stay in scenarios, situations way longer than I should because, well, there's so many becauses, but I convince myself to stay in them, I think, because I don't feel worthy or of value to go get something better.
So what would be one of those moments? Because I can feel a resonance with that.
Yes, I think so many people can. It can in relationship, I think in states of mind, I think in professional scenarios. I stayed in a relationship for 13 years, and I probably only should have stayed in it for 1 year. But I really didn't value myself enough to know that I could be treated better. And I knew in my gut that I wanted that, but I constantly told myself that I am undeserving of that. In profession, in a career, I stayed in social work for 12 years, and I knew probably about 5 years in, I was like, this is not what I want to do with my life. It's not contributing to society in the ways that I naively hoped it would. I want to change the world. I want to help others. And social work is a really hard way to make that happen without losing your sense of self, it gnawing away at your soul. It's just hard. It's just, you get compassion fatigue. And so it's easy to get lost in that world. And on the flip side of that, staying in things for too long, and then I have these small blips in life where I have found hyperfocus and confidence and evolution and growth. But it's so transitional and short-lived, and I get very frustrated at my inability to find prolonged surrender in that kind of thing. And it's more staying and waiting till something explodes or is on fire to leave the building. So why is that? How can I find balance? And I'm sure a lot of people could relate to that maybe, or at least you've maybe observed somebody else.
Right. So what would be one of those instances that you don't mind like really digging into?
Yeah.
And that experience from like the moment entering it and then exploring through?
Yeah. I think, like, are you saying in terms of staying in a scenario that was too...
Let's just pick one scenario. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can play from there.
Yes. I can go back to maybe childhood is the first incident. So I grew up in a very dysfunctional family environment. I think probably everybody that you're going to interview on this podcast has that. Probably 99% of human beings that have ever lived on this planet can also relate to that.
To some kind of dysfunction.
Perfect. Yes. We are imperfect. And when you're raising children as imperfect people, the lineage of dysfunction will get passed down. Anyway, so I had that aversion of that. Everybody around me was in survival mode. It was chaotic. It was upheaval. Everyone was either actively in a nervous breakdown or fighting one off.
That sounds so stressful.
It was.
Part of.
It was. And so my goal in life as a kid was not, I want to get married and have kids and have a career and travel. It was, I just want peace and stability. And I will settle for that. Just that. Really, really minimal. So the bar was low. I learned very unhealthy coping mechanisms. I think a lot of eating disorders, a lot of self-harm, to try, as like what you said, to appear, I'm okay. I have it all together. I want people to like me. I want people to think that I am worthy and good and happy and want to share space with me, which a lot of that is suppressing who you actually are, what you're actually feeling. So yeah, a lot of depression and suicide attempts and all that kind of stuff growing up. And then my father, unfortunately, committed suicide when I was 16. Wow. He was really severely addicted to crack and OxyContin. And he never wanted children. He didn't want a life of kind of family and kids. And he made that known. So that sort of, I didn't feel worthy and loved because I wasn't really getting that emotional stability and output consistently. I think my mom did her best. And I look at my dad and I'm like, you did your best too. I can objectively appreciate and have gratitude for the good moments. My mom saw that dance was important to me and she made sure to make sacrifices so that I could dance. That is a privilege. I'm so grateful for her making that happen for me. Because if I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't be alive. But so going back to my dad, when he committed suicide, that completely shook me up.
Yeah.
And it made me reorient and understand like mortality in a really profound way. And it shook me out of my self-harm a little bit, out of my eating disorders, and it set me up on this sort of transitional path of wanting better. I don't want this. I don't want to end up like that.
Yeah, so let's talk about that, because so leading up now as a teenager, I feel like that is a time of such need.
Yes.
And it's so transformative. And I feel like that's a common moment that people see their lives going in one direction or another. It's like in these transformative teen years, and your entire world was shifted upside down. And so what do you think were some of those, I feel like you sort of touched on them, but like some of those beliefs that you had maybe about yourself and the world around you that were leading up to that moment that then this just...
Yeah, I felt unworthy. I think unloved, unworthy, undervalued. I think I looked at my life and had examples of what I don't want. These were examples of what a relationship, I don't want to be in a relationship like this. I don't want a job like this. I don't want to be addicted. Rather than healthy examples of this is what I could be. This is how great life could be. And so that, it shook me up in a way of, okay, I know I really don't want this. And it set me off on a path of, okay, well, I'm going to go to college. And nobody in my family went to college. And so that was kind of a first. My brother chose a different path. He chose alcoholism, and he's still struggling with that today. My mom chose jumping into another relationship as a distraction. And I was like, I'm on my own. I'm going to go and just say, fuck it. I'm going to try these things. I'm going to go try to have a life. And my first love was passionate. He was also a dancer, really swept up in that, did not know what a good relationship was, didn't know how to see the red flags. I felt love, therefore I was like, yes, I want this. He cheated on me with, oh God, to over 20 women, multiple, most of them were dancers that I was actively collaborating with or having to share space with. I chose to get back together with him though after that, and repeatedly chose that relationship over 13 years. It took me 13 fucking years to wake up. And again, I didn't think I was worthy of something better treatment. I didn't have a standard. I didn't have, well, my mom was treated well and I would like to have a relationship like what she had.
Did you have anyone to show you what it could be like?
I did not. No, and I think I was still young enough that no one around me was getting married or having kids or anything like that. I think that was a shift, hitting 30 and watching my close girlfriends have partners and love and children, and watch how functional and easy it could be and how their partners were showing up for them. I'm like, oh, okay. There's an awareness here. I am not experiencing that. But I keep staying in it because I'm afraid that I'm not going to find anything better. And having a partner that's also highly narcissistic and manipulative, showing you that you don't deserve better and convincing you, all guys are like this and you're crazy for thinking otherwise. There's that kind of piece in it too. But that really had to go up in flames for me to walk away from that. And that was my second scenario where I felt alive and fire and passion and confidence.
So what was that shake up to really wake you up from that? Because this like love and acceptance, what I'm hearing is I was raised to feel like I'm not wanted, I'm not accepted, I'm not loved, and then here's love. Wait, this isn't really what love should be, but I don't really know anything else. And then this next shakeup, like what was that?
Well, he was the one who broke up with me. He dumped me. And it was because he said, I feel like I'm gonna cheat again. And I don't want to. I'm frustrated that I can't. So back to square one with that relationship. So he's the one that chose to end it. I don't think I would have left it had he not been the initiator of that. So the shakeup was immediate heartache and upheaval and grief, like suicidal. What is my purpose? And then right out of that, there was this tiny seedling of, well, what do I have to lose now? I've lost all the things that I feel like are important. I don't have direction. Why don't I try this? And so I started saying yes to experiences and people that I never, ever would have had the confidence to do so. And it set me off on this path that felt good. It felt positive. I was connecting with my friends more. I was meeting new people. I was dancing more. I was in better shape. I was loving myself more. And then I found this new job that then the first week I met my husband that I'm married to now. And it was, he moved in 2 weeks. We got married in 2 months. And it was just because I saw in him, this is what I've been wanting. I knew instantly, this is the guy that I've been dying to meet and have in life. And I'm not going to drag my feet and wait any longer. Life is short. And so that's been a bit of a whirlwind.
And it's been so fun to watch from the sidelines.
So like, wait, what? You're married? We just went on a hike and said I do, and that was it. So it was very, very not secretive intentionally, but we just were like, we don't want all the fuss of a wedding or anything. And I appreciate when people do want to do that, but I think we were just ready to be married and didn't want to have to plan anything other than waking up and maybe having a ring.
Don't go anywhere just yet. We're going to continue this conversation in just a moment.
Check it out. Yeah.
I am so grateful that you have chosen to spend your time with me here on the Nexus of Narratives. I know that time is our most invaluable resource, and I am grateful for your support by just listening. If you would like to further support the podcast and my continued work in this space, please go to www.nexusofnarratives.org. That is NEXUSOFNARRATIVES.org for more content, ways to support, and connect with others. The Nexus of Narratives is a passion project of mine in the Nexus Impact. So if you are looking for coaching services to become the type of leader that others want to follow, or help improve the culture and engagement of your teams, your organizations, and build greater community to help reduce lost costs due to turnover and inefficiency, reach out to me. I would love to help support you in your work. And if that is the avenue that you would like to go, you can find me and connect on my website. That is the nexusimpact.com or THENEXUSIMPACT.com. Thank you.
So moments of, understanding my worth, but very short-lived. And so that's been the struggle is how can I sustain feelings of worth and understanding that I do deserve better and speaking my truth. And why is it that I or people stay in dysfunction and toxicity longer than we should?
Well, and I'm so amazed by it because throughout all of this, I feel like you have these cards stacked up for you to be stuck permanently in eternity and this is completely me painting this picture because I just hear this theme of different conversations like I just wanted to be loved and accepted. And the moment there's that flavor of it, especially with just so much pain growing up and it feels lost to me, that then, losing your father and having that as one catalyst moment, you have this spark of wait, I need a moment of clarity. And then you get lost and then you find this moment of clarity again. That I find those moments of clarity so inspiring.
Yes.
Because that's what has saved you.
Yes.
And how cool is that?
And I want to be able, and I'm speaking with a therapist about that. How do I access and tap into that without upheaval? Why do I have to be in the lowest shambles of heartache and grief and loss to to pull that up and out. Is there a version of myself that can sustain that through comfort, through stability? And that's where I'm at in life right now. It's like missing that person a little bit, missing the tragedy so that I can get some motivation to tap into this fucking fire life force.
Yeah. You're like, okay, there's something really cool here. So how do I embody that without the tragedy?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I fully believe in you and your ability to do that.
And a lot of it is like fake it till you make it, I think.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's also what's cool about being in this space in this moment is there's not like this, hi, I have it all figured out. No. Now listen to me. No. Here's the answers.
Yeah.
Being human's messy. It's so messy. And I think if we try to pretend it's not, we're just lying to ourselves and lying to other people. Like I'm so grateful for your vulnerability and for your sharing that. And I see this is the first time you've shared these things with me too. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, I can feel into a lot of it. Like I remember being in my moments where I felt like I wasn't worthy, and I was in a relationship for almost 10 years with someone who was highly narcissistic. And I remember waking up every day feeling like I made my bed, now I'm going to sleep in it. This is the best that I've got. This is all that I deserve. And I'm miserable. Yep. And I hate myself. I hated looking in the mirror. And I hear stories of women who don't get out of that, or who are ridiculed for getting into it in the first place. And that breaks my heart. Yeah. Because what I see, like everything for me happens kind of like in animation in my brain, is I see you as this like sweet kid who's just like wanting love and like getting this rejection and like not knowing any better and being lost. Yeah. And having those moments, but just this like lost kid who just wants love. Yeah. And then like in me, I see this like confused and lost girl that was just looking for love, looking for belonging. And that's not, to me, that doesn't mean it's an invitation to be ridiculed for being in a bad place.
Absolutely. And I knew the choices I think that I was making, and I knew everyone and their grandmother was like, what are you doing? But yeah, I think when you grow up with a lot of shame, like ingrained, it's in your DNA, shame, and unworthiness, and people that you trust that are like kind of authority figures that manipulate you in a way to bring you down with them. I think it's just hurt people hurting people. After my dad died, his whole side of the family, rather than dealing with their grief, they blamed his death on me and my mom, which I can look back and have compassion for them because they were hurting and they didn't understand the full story. My dad was an addict and he was seeking resources and funding from them, but would blame and make up stories about me and my mom and my brother just to get money from them to support his habit. And so after that, it was like flabbergasted. Are you kidding? What could I have done? I'm 16. This is a grown man who's smoking crack. How do I get who I don't have a relationship with anyway? This guy and I were ships passing in the night. We didn't have anything. There was no way I could have had an intervention with this man and pulled him up and out. But all that to say, that really ingrained a seedling of guilt and shame of like, you did something profoundly wrong and someone is dead because of it. And then my ex also saying shameful things like you're a slut and, you know, these kind of degrading ways of treating me and women in general that then also started this other narrative that wove itself into my perception of the world and people, myself. So having dance and getting to dance with strong, powerful, resilient women that have such full, complex lives and stories has really helped in my healing. I find myself the advice that I'm providing and dictating to our classes. I am really also just sort of self-soothing.
Mm-hmm.
And something that was really illuminating for me, I used to keep this journal, 2 journals, a gratitude journal and then one of those 5-year journals where you enter in a few sentences every day for like 5 years, and you get to see over the course of those years all these little entries and sort of the patterns of what was happening on that day over the course of many years.
Oh, interesting.
And then I had a gratitude journal where I'd write down a few things that I was grateful for that day. So every night I did this ritual, and I went back and I read these, and it was so heartbreaking to watch this pattern of longing and heartache and wanting better, and then immediately negating it with gratitude. Things could be so much worse. You should be grateful. And it just suppressed all of this. And I think in social work, that was a reason why I didn't want better, because I'm with people that are dying and terminally ill. So I go, oh, things could be so much worse. All that I'm complaining about is, I have kind of an asshole for a boyfriend, but gosh, at least I have my health. So there's sort of this toxicity in gratitude culture. I think the things can simultaneously exist. I think you can be really grateful for the things that you have, the people that you have, the experiences that you have, and simultaneously want better. And I don't think those things have to be separate. I think you can honor both.
Absolutely. I've never even thought of that. That's so fascinating.
Yeah, I think it's okay to want better for yourself, and it doesn't mean that you're an ungrateful POS.
Yeah.
So there's that. I think there's also surrounding yourself with people that are good examples of the life you'd like to live. Not the dysfunctional people. Having examples of healthy communication, people following their passions. That's a wonderful thing, in which this dance class offers. I get to be around that every week. That is so inspiring. You alone. I mean, to have a child, sleep deprived, to find time to take care of your body and nourish yourself, to find time for your partnership with DJ, to have these passion projects. You don't know how they're going to play out, but you're going for it. You're going for it. And that inspires me. So being able to be around you and hear your story helps. I think there's so many things that I'm just like providing my own advice that I should be living by. It's easier said than done.
That has also been a common theme of like, oh, well, doesn't that sound great? Shouldn't I practice what I just said out loud?
Yes, I know.
Well, and I'm so grateful. I feel like where I'm at right now feels surreal. And it also is this like, if I don't do it now, I probably never will, and I'll regret it. And so let's just see where it goes.
Yes.
And see what comes of it, and hope that people's lives improve along the way.
Yeah.
And like I told you yesterday, if one person feels like their life is better, then it's all worth it.
Absolutely.
And I think I'm curious of what kind of like values and beliefs have you had about yourself that you feel like have shifted now with where you're at? I mean, your story isn't done. You're not like, I'm at this victory place. You're like, I'm still very much figuring it out in therapy, finally with this wonderful man as a husband, still with all of this darkness that I'm working through.
I think I'm finding a voice. I think being brutally honest with myself and with my partner and with my circle of peers, collaborators, friends has been such a necessary practice that helps. That definitely helps. Speaking my truth. I think I have not spoken my truth for so long because I'm afraid of hurting others. I don't want to be the source of somebody else's pain. And so to come to my partner and say, I need this to change. It doesn't mean I'm not grateful and I'm not committed, but I need this to feel fulfilled and happy. I know that that's going to make him go off maybe on a dark path of his own, but it's not serving me and it's not serving him by suppressing it and not articulating it. And I found that when I am brutally honest, with tact and respect, of course, and compassion and empathy for this, for it, we both then grow together. And it's these incremental positive changes and shifts that happen when we both feel safe enough to actually say how we feel. That's been immensely life shifting for me to help me get up and out of my funk, feeling safe to say how I feel.
And what is that like? What has helped with feeling that safety? Now it sounds like for the first time.
I think it's the repetition of it. It's like the first time I tried it, positive change happened. I'm going to do it again, and positive change happened. I think in social work, you, with a caseload of 100 people, you're communicating with people of all different lives, personality disorders, mental illness. And so you have to find a way to meet common ground with everybody. And I call it like a compassion sandwich. It's coming forth with gratitude first. And, hey, I understand how you're feeling. And thank you for telling me that. However, this is how it's affecting me. However, this is how I feel. However, this is the scenario. And how can we work together? What do we do together so that they don't feel left out on an island by themselves and we're actually in this together? We're going to problem solve together. It doesn't work every time. Of course, when you have someone that's not really in the same reality as you, that's not going to work. Or a total narcissist that's like totally self-absorbed. But I would say overwhelmingly, the majority of the times where I have come and had a hard conversation, it has shifted for the better afterwards. So it's a learned skill.
And it sounds like the advice that I've heard in different spaces of being less like, you hurt me, you did this, but you did this, is it's more like, we are in this together, like you said, and here's what's going on for me. And making it less pointed at this other person is wrong. And like, that's what can cultivate growth. Is it feels like there's like, okay, I'm going to open my heart. Come on this journey with me. Are we going?
And if not, then there's your answer.
Then, yeah, there it is. And at least in my experience, like if we're talking relationships in particular, like sometimes go great and sometimes don't. And that doesn't mean, I mean, for us, it hasn't meant stop trying because there's one that doesn't go well. Of course. It's like, as long as there's that like mutual desire to say, okay, we're going on this journey, then that the alignment in that big picture is important. And like, we're not all at our best all the time. There are times that I get feedback and I'm like, well, where is it? And
oh yeah, of course. It hurt. I mean, having your feelings hurt, getting some brutal, honest feedback can sting so bad. But God, wouldn't you rather have the truth than just delusionally walking around thinking that things are okay? I would rather have my feelings hurt than be blindsided. And I think
every single time
cheated on was the moment where I was like, I need to know all the nitty gritty details of all the things you're feeling and thinking about all these other people. Anyway. The other thing, to kind of go back to your question, I think the other thing is trusting your gut. We have this innate evolutionary trait as human beings to have gut instinct, and it's mostly for survival and safety, but it's also for emotional, like more contemporary modern ideas of it. It's also to let you know like something's not right. And when you feel that, fucking follow it. And I think those times where I trusted that and I didn't suppress it and do the mental gymnastics to reorient other ways, that's been good and positive and healing to know that, oh, I was right.
Like our bodies know what's going on. And to even if we don't know what that's telling us, to get curious about like, why do I have this feeling in my gut?
Yes.
What is that?
Yeah. Why do I have pain here? Yeah. Why is this? Yeah.
And so, you talk about having this like gut feeling when you were in that wrong situation. Like, what was that experience like in your body?
Oh, it feels like it's nausea, it's tension, it's unsettled restlessness. Yeah, there's a lot of negotiating you have to do to stay in something when you're feeling such a physiological feeling of get out, move on. This is not healthy. So it's a lot of compartmentalizing. It's a lot of sort of lying to yourself. It's a lot of, but the positive things, kind of like I said, at least I'm not getting beat. At least it could be so much worse. Look what my mom's going through.
Right.
I don't have that. At least I have this. So it's a lot of confusion on a cellular level.
Yeah.
To shut these centers of knowing and of power down so that you can convince yourself that everything's okay. So.
And how do you feel like you've been able to work on transforming that to stay more true to what you know you deserve?
I think it's finding moments of quiet where you can shut the noise down, whether that's in sort of a physical practice. Movement for me is that when I can get out of my head and start to feel and reintroduce myself to me and not have to put it through this cognitive filter. That's when I feel stabilized and grounded. So whether that's a movement practice, meditation, a yoga. I like hot yoga because it is so severe and brutal. You have no choice but to be present because you're like, God, this is awful. And I love it.
Something theme about being in these situations for a long time.
You don't have choice but to just, to be present.
Disclaimer, you can't choose to leave a hot yoga class.
You can, and I actually did last week. And I felt like a failure. I left 15 minutes early and I was like, wow, worthless.
Oh, no.
But all good. I worked through it. Yes, so I'm very grateful that I have a movement practice. Movement is how I tap into my true self. And I know not everybody has that, and my heart hurts for that, for those people that don't have the privilege that I've had to be able to have that resource available to me, and that my mother encouraged it, because I'm sure probably people experience the opposite. So that, I guess, is a bit of advice, as you could say, is to people, just find the thing for you that grounds you back to your reality, your gut, your heart. Whether that's painting, hiking, something to get you out of your head and into feeling and sensation. I've been doing ketamine therapy, and holy shit, has that been. I highly recommend it. Again, I know that that's a privilege that I've been able to dip my toe into that, but wow, that has been.
I've never even heard of that, to be completely honest.
It's amazing. It is, I think, one of the things that people are utilizing, like psychedelics, to be able to crack open in a different way that traditional psych meds have not been successful at. Ketamine is a wonderful thing because the trips are very short. It's like an hour to 2 hour session, and there's no hangover afterwards. And it's designed to rewire your brain, kind of undo these negative stories that you tell yourself and reorienting to something different. And that has been wonderful. So dance and movement, ketamine. And speaking openly and honestly when I'm feeling it in real time, not suppressing it and waiting a year, but talk, communicate.
Yeah, and find like what works for you to help to soothe and release. Yeah, and there's so many different mechanisms for how we can do that and what kind of combination does or doesn't work.
And maybe it's Taco Bell, and maybe it's horror movies. It is that for me too.
For me, for a long time, it was horror podcasts.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So healing.
Yeah. Nothing like bringing the anxiety higher to silence the anxiety of other places.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's someone else's anxiety. That's what's nice about it. But also pets, animals, like having pure, innocent examples of joy for life. That's a lovely reminder. Like having a dog is such an awesome thing.
Yes.
An awesome creature that embodies just pure joy to be alive and in your space. Oh, it's so unconditional and so sweet. So that helps too.
Yeah. To help nourish others and help create that space. So I'm just so amazed at what you've been able to overcome and how you're continuing to try and grow in this journey. And it's still very real and in the thick of it and still moving through to try and overcome. It sounds like you're still in the thick of doing that. And that is so amazing to me.
Thank you.
And so for what you've shared, how can, if there's somebody who can resonate with what you've shared, how can your story help create connection for them?
I think in understanding that taking good care of yourself is not selfish. It is actually an incredibly generous act to do by showing people an example of what true self-love is, then gives everybody around you permission to also step into that. So when you reorient back to what would be nourishing for me in this moment, the more that you can incorporate that in life in small doses, whatever you can do to take good care of yourself is a potent and powerful thing, not just for you, but for people watching you. And so if there's people out there that don't necessarily resonate with the specific stories, but at least maybe you know of somebody that's in it. And by you living a full, authentic life where you're taking good care of yourself, then will help that person to observe it. And it's just kind of this giving little network of branching out. That even if somebody is not raised with good examples of it, maybe they meet you and share space with you and start to see that. And that's where my growth has been, is in connecting with women, men, people that are following what in their heart is right for them. That gave me permission and inspiration to do the same. So you do that for me.
Well,
and thank you for that. And I hope you know that.
Well, thank you.
And I hope it makes you feel that you should do it more.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I guess I need to keep going now.
If it serves you.
Right.
And if not, fuck it.
Yeah, well,
Let it
and you give so much to me too, just in the spaces that we share and dance. So I'm glad we're able to be mutual givers to each other.
Yes, it's reciprocal.
Yep.
I love that.
It absolutely is. And then what about for someone who might be in a relatable place? I think this space of feeling, I mean, so unfortunate that this space of feeling like unworthy and feeling hurt and feeling lost is terribly human and like familiar.
I know.
How can, like, what might you say to a past version of yourself?
Gosh, that's a weighted question for sure. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna get through this. Surround yourself with people that are positive and good. You know, like you can choose to move away from scenarios and people that are not positive and good and orienting you towards the path that you'd like to go down. So even if it's in the smallest way, when you continue to make choices that orient towards and align with the type of person you want to grow into, slowly these things will drop off. So if you can find something in life that gives you a spark of joy and enthusiasm, go with that. Even if it's the smallest fraction, and then you'll find yourself in that. People will find you.
Absolutely. Following that spark is contagious. That's so beautiful. And I mean, that's what served you so well, is those moments of sparks.
Yes. Yeah, will catapult you into things that you never thought possible.
Yeah. Well, and so then in some of these moments that you've shared, what do you feel like you needed most to feel connected to people around you?
I think I just needed examples of people stepping into their power.
Mm.
People who were confidently following their passions and succeeding in it. I needed examples, positive role models growing up. But I've been able to meet so many people later in life. And so even if that's not your current circumstances, that could be available to you. I think carving the space for it. But I think examples of.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And for people who might be watching or listening who feel like they can't resonate, they're like, I've never experienced that at all. What do I do with this? How can your story help them create connection?
I think in kind of like what I referenced before is I think everybody has, whether you've been in a dark place yourself, you've probably seen it. You probably have a loved one that has been down in the dumps, so to speak, or a friend of a friend. And like I said, I think living your life in a full way, following your passions, showing them what could be is generous for that person. So I think that's a great thing, as well as providing reassurance to that person. And I know sometimes it goes on deaf ears. There's so many people that are like, you're great, please get out of this. You deserve so much better. And I was just, blinded by it. But it did make an impact in time. So don't stop bringing them in. Don't stop inviting them to things and articulating how much you love them and care about them. Eventually it will land. So don't stop trying, I think is what I'm trying to say with that.
Yeah, I love that. Don't stop trying to show your love.
Yeah.
And keeping yourself open to them. Like, don't give up.
Yeah.
On the people who are hurting.
Yes.
Because
take good care of yourself too, right?
Yes.
Like don't because there's a point where people have to want it themselves, and you can't deplete your compassion in trying to lift somebody else up. But try your best.
I think that's so beautiful, because I think often I've seen people like get frustrated or defeated. They're like, well, whatever, they're just going to go do whatever they're going to do, and they're just going to stay in their shit. And it's like, no, it's like keep our hearts open to them, and let's not like put other people down for being in a bad situation. We don't know their full story. Yeah. We don't know what it's like to be in their mind and in their body right now. Let's just keep our hearts available to them. Yep. And not close that door.
Yes. Yeah. Having compassion for the complexity of what somebody may be going through and why they are staying in this. But not letting go. My brother's going through that right now. He's struggling with alcoholism. He has for a very, very, very long time. And he's been sober, I think, for 2 weeks now. This is the longest he's been sober since like middle school. Amazing. And my mom and I have kind of gone through this. Well, he's almost 40 now. And if he has to want a better life for himself too, there's only so much that we can do. But what we're doing now is we are championing him so much and congratulating him. We're so proud of you. And reaching out so that he feels supported in this, and that, if he does backslide, which is common, we can be there to help kind of remind him of this and how good things could be.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating. I think that's hard, and that's natural for people to write people off, but to have an open heart is good and needed.
Yeah. Theme of the day, keep an open heart. Well, is there anything else that you'd like to share while we have this space?
I'm just so grateful. Thank you for having me. Thank you for providing a space where people can come in and share these stories, and I hope it resonates in some way. And I hope you get to meet other inspiring people and bring them into the fold so that their stories are heard. And we have so much more in common as human beings. And I think you're doing a really good job of highlighting that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I hope that's what everyone ends up seeing through time. Is that we are so much more similar than we think, and our needs are so similar.
Yeah.
What I'm finding so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many common threads. I'm sure there's going to be so many like necessarily redundant themes that keep popping up that you can point to.
Yeah. And I'm so interested to see what those themes are and are not.
Yeah.
Be my unofficial research study.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
Well, thank you. I'm so grateful for your time and your vulnerability and your openness. I love it. I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Love you.
I love you.
A special thank you goes out to Sparta Media Group for producing this podcast ever so fantastically. So thank you to Jesse and his team. And an additional special thank you goes out to my sweet and talented husband, DJ Richardson, for creating the music that is used in this production. Thank you so much, so deeply for spending your time with me here on the Nexus of Narratives. I hope that you found this to be a tremendously valuable use of your time and your capacity, and that this might help you to create greater connection and compassion in the spaces all around you.
Feel the urge to do something really funky, right? Let's hope I don't ever get too comfortable.
I think when that day happens, you should hang up.
Hang up the slate. That means I'm not having fun anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Good lesson in life.
Yeah.
All right, you're ready to go.
This is Nexus of Narratives, and I'm here with the lovely Kelsey. This is our first take and only take. The only time we've had to take two was when I was trying to do the introductory chat with DJ, and I was like, yeah, sure, let's try to have the baby in this. This is gonna be fine. And so she's just crawling all over the place. She's standing on me going, ah, and it was amazing. But we had to redo that.
Content.
It was fantastic.
This is my life.
Yeah. It was so delightful. All right, how are you over there? You good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. Make sure I know all the things. You good?
Yeah.
I was like, I checked with him. Just stiffen up. I'm great.
Yeah. I know.
So, well. Okay. And you didn't even know you need your notes.
I don't know. I'm sure there was so much rambling.